welcome back to the Creakers. I'm a little bit scared to read what happens next. Shall we do it? Okay, we'll read chapter 17. Lucy crept along the creepy, stinking corridor, following the wretched voices of Guff, Grunt, Scratch and Sniff as they creaked deeper into the Walleb. She stepped over the little wooden signs reading the names of all her Whiffington neighbours, and her tummy gave a little flutter as she thought of all the children above. Waking up to another grown-upless day, not knowing anything about this place, not realising what was at stake. Of course, Lucy knew exactly what was at stake, and you know too. If Lucy couldn't find the grown-ups, if she got lost down here, she might never find her way out, and the children of Whiffington would never see their families again. Suddenly, a second corridor appeared in front of her, one she was sure hadn't been there a moment ago. She scratched her head as she stared at the fork in the road, and the choice she now had to make. Should she go left, or should she go right? Or should she take the third tunnel? The third tunnel? Where did that come from? Lucy thought. That definitely wasn't there a moment ago. She glanced back the way she had come and stared in disbelief. It was now a dead end. The Walleb was changing. It was moving, like it was alive. Lucy felt crushed. I'm never going to be able to find my way around here. This is impossible, she said, and slumped to the sticky floor in a huff. As those words came out of her mouth, they felt so strange. She'd never said that anything was impossible. She usually hated those words. Her mum's voice suddenly popped into her head. Impossible isn't real, it's just in your mind. Lucy's heart sank. It meant that down here in this backwards place, impossible was very real. Impossible. Mind. Oh, Lucy's head went fuzzy, and then her thoughts suddenly became crystal clear, as though her mind was an old TV and someone had just tuned it properly. Wait a second. If the thing I'm trying to do, rescue the grown-ups from the nasty monsters, is impossible, then down in the Walleb, where everything is what it isn't, it is totally possible, she cried. It's the one place in the world where I can do this. Lucy jumped back to her feet. She had an idea. I know exactly where I'm going, she announced as loudly as she could, her voice echoing down the multiple tunnels and hallways that had appeared around her. I don't need a map. The last thing I would ever want is a precise, detailed map of the entire Walleb. Oh, if anything, a map would just slow me down. Lucy waited hopefully. There was a deep silence. She peered down each of the twisted routes ahead of her as they wound deeper into this weird world. Then, all of a sudden, something caught her eye. Something stuck to the wall of the tunnels. She ran over to it, her heart skipping in her chest. It was a giant map spread out on the wall, like the ones you see in a shopping centre. Lucy grinned. Her plan had worked. She had tricked the Walleb. Oh no, not a map, she said out loud. This isn't helpful at all. Lucy took a step closer to get a better look at the map. She thought her swimming goggles might be playing tricks on her, so she lifted them up to check. But nope, the map was unlike any Lucy had ever seen before. It looked like this. It looked like Whiffington town, but sliced in half like an apple. Underneath the town there were no layers of rock or hot lava core like Lucy was used to seeing in the maps of the earth in her geography lessons at school. Instead, there was a complicated network of tunnels winding downwards into the ground, tunnels that led to a large creaker city. Lucy gasped. It was unbelievable. If you stood back, it looked like an enormous black spider was living somewhere inside the planet, with all its legs poking up to the surface. A secret monster beneath all of the homes in Whiffington Town. She leaned in to take an even closer look. The spider suddenly moved. Ah! Lucy cried. The wallop was alive. As the spider on the map stretched and shifted one of its knobbly legs, Lucy heard a great creak from the tunnel ahead of her and saw the entire thing bend and stretch before settling down, now leading to a new location. No wonder all these tunnels appeared out of nowhere. This whole world was moving, changing. Lucy took a breath and leant in again. Now she could see and read some of the locations in the Creaker city. There was a public swimming pool filled with live rats and cockroaches, a restaurant serving leftover Brussels sprouts from Christmases past. The most expensive sprout on the menu was one found in one of the bins at Buckingham Palace in 1953. It had been severely undercooked and partially chewed. Possibly by royalty. Possibly not. There were shops selling stinky old shoes with holes in. Shops selling stinky old socks to match the stinky old shoes. Shops selling ice cream, which was actually scoops of human earwax. Shops selling belly button fluff blankets. A market with only rotten vegetables. A lumpy river of off milk. And just about every gross thing that Lucy could imagine. Actually, this place was so gross that a nice girl like Lucy wouldn't even have been able to imagine it. As Lucy scanned the map, she noticed a small red dot with an arrow pointing to it. Above it were the words, "You're not here." Lucy smiled to herself. She knew it meant that this was exactly where she was. She was beginning to figure out this backwards place. This map is so unhelpful, but what would be even less useful would be to know where the grown-ups are being kept. I definitely don't want to know that, she said loudly and waited. Suddenly a great hole opened up in the wall to her right, like giant tree roots twisting themselves open. A new spider's leg appeared on the map next to the spot where she was. She traced it with her finger to see where it led, and her tummy did a little flip when she reached the end. There was a picture of what looked like a fun fair ground on the map, with the words written above it, Creakerland, the No Fun Fair. Suddenly a scream echoed through the new opening, which gave Lucy the chills, because it wasn't a creaker screaming, it was a grown-up. Let's see what happens in the next chapter.